And we are officially live tonight. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another episode of Elite Insight, your AEW pay-per-view review show here at BC WrestlePod. I am Mikey, also known as El Jefe of BC WrestlePod, and I have a very fun crew tonight to be reviewing AEW Full Gear with me. First and foremost, just less than 72 hours off of doing the watch along with me in a very fun but a very long Saturday night. Mr. Benny, aka Picnic Basket Jones, is in the house. Welcome back.
Um, Good evening, boils and ghouls and nondescript spirits. Let's rock and roll.
I love that. I love that. And then, of course, joining us and rounding out the trio this evening is, of course, you know him, you love him, the day one as it is here. You know, JVL, I love you so much. I am so happy you're here. But tonight, he is Rico Shaved Ice JVL. Love this.
Pew pew. Nondescript Cactus Jack reference.
Oh, Lord.
Here, right here, on BC WrestlePod.
Don't thumb Mikey like that. You're right underneath him.
I will thumb him any which way I want.
Whoa, consent here, folks. We do have to consent to these things.
And
Mikey's in a different time zone.
Because nothing is more sexier than consent.
I'm just saying, Benny, also, Mikey's in a different time zone. You know, I'm only about 20 minutes away from you. I could get thumbed first if you really wanted to.
Be like, that's the after hour content. Anywho.
After what hours is the internet?
That is very, very true. Whenever people watch this, who knows? But once again, like I mentioned before, we are here to review AEW Full Gear. So this episode's going to be heavily focused on that, but we got some other stuff. So the order of the review is going to go, we're going to go into 0 Hour, we're going to get into the main card, and then the three of us are going to talk about the Continental Classic. I have slides and pictures. It's going to be fun. So I'm super excited about all of this. But before we jump into the Full Gear review proper, a little bit of the announcements before we get too deep into it. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, well, you can check out our YouTube, our Twitch, and our Kick. And you can subscribe and follow along on any of those three video platforms, whatever your preferred platform of video consuming content is. But we also know that watching full-length live streams and post-show breakdowns and all kinds of other things may not be for you because you don't have the time or your attention span will not allow you to do so. Trust me, I understand that problem wholeheartedly. But if you want to interact with us in a smaller scale, you can follow us on your favorite social media site of choice at BC WrestlePod, where you can find our report cards, our previews, our prediction scores, and our previews for major pay-per-views and shows. It's a lot of fun. It's a great time. And if you want to take it a step further and help us monetarily, there are two ways to do so. Option A, you can support us monetarily while in exchange of goods to get a cool looking t-shirt, hoodie, or whatever you want with our merch. We have a merch store at bcwrestlepodshop.forcewall.com where we have designs for all of our review teams and special limited editions. We are currently in the final days of our Dia de los Muertos collection, and coming soon to a online store near you will be the BC WrestlePod Holiday Collection, which is going to be fantastic, which I'm excited for. Option number two to help us monetarily is ever so often in the comment section of Twitch and YouTube. Our little friendo, the coffee bot, will be popping in and out ever so often, and you can donate to the cause by buying us a coffee if that is your fancy. It will help us keep the metaphorical lights on here at BC WrestlePod and also help us out pay for all these big four pay-per-views, because I love you, AEW, but you're the only company right now that I still got to pay pay-per-views for. But that is okay, because it is worth it in my opinion, because I want to support y'all. Y'all are great. But with that out of the way, now let's get into Full Gear. So I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I had to watch. So I watched the full card live with Benny, but then I had to go back and watch Tailgate Brawl because I was watching the pay-per-view on YouTube. And so I'm like sitting there, like clicking the pay-per-view. And then for like 30 minutes into Tailgate Brawl, I'm like watching the commentary team break down all the matches on the main card. Meanwhile, I'm watching 0 Hour happen in the background of them. I was like, hold up, what is happening? Come to find out, I had to go to a separate thing to watch Tailgate Brawl. I'm like, ain't this so I had to go back.
Capitalism at its best.
How dare they? I was just like, I wish I would have known. Anywho, but we're gonna quickly go over Tailgate Brawl. I briefly want to touch upon the 3 matches that were on Tailgate Brawl, and then we'll get into the 4th one, which bled into the main show at the start of it. So let's get through. Let's get through Tailgate Brawl. So of course, we kick things off with the $200,000 Tailgate Brawl 4-way, which saw Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, the Outrunners, the Bang Bang Gang, and Big Bill and Brian Keith. This was fine. I was like, I wasn't expecting anything crazy. I mean, I love the Outrunners. I was pulling for them to win, but shout out to the Bang Bang Gang. Now they are $200,000 richer, and this was fine. It was fun. I had a good time.
Of all the teams in this, they were the 3rd likeliest team I thought were going to win this. So, but I mean, the Outrunners' elbow was sick on Big Bill.
For real.
I love the Juice couldn't get through anything of those promos. Like Austin's just like, yeah, and then like Juice was like $200,000. We got $200,000.
I hope that doesn't become his thing where he just repeats things at the end of it now, but it seems like it's ending where it's going to be going.
I hope not. But if this was a one-time thing, I'm okay with it because it was hilarious. Again, I was pulling for the Outrunners, but shout out to the Bang Bang Gang. They are $200,000 richer. Very interested to see what they're going to spend this money on.
Maybe a third person in their group, and again, who knows?
I'll be like, I'm waiting on you, Jay White. Anyways.
What about... Where's Austin Gunn?
I know that too. They have money. They can get both. Anyways, but again, this was fun. This was fine. It started off Tailgate Brawl, which then led us into this match. Boom and Doom taking on Roppongi Vice, RPG Vice. Again, what my expectations were not necessarily in hell, but the bar was on the floor. So the bar was not in hell, it was on the floor, so it wasn't that hard to impress me. It is what it was. I mean, this is the one time, like every season of a pay-per-view cycle, where we finally see Paul White come out. So, I mean, I was not expecting anything, 5-star classic. It was here. Boom and Doom win, which apparently winning this match also now gives them a tag team championship match, ? I was just like, excuse me? I was like, how that
What?
Now, I don't know if that picture was real. I hope it wasn't, but I'm like, Boom and Doom better not be getting this tag team championship against FTR. The hell?
What blackmail material does Boom Boom have on Tony Khan that he has been on every pre-show for 6 months?
Especially for these big 4 pay-per-views for freaking AEW. He was on Revolution, he was at Double or Nothing, and then he was here.
The Rizzler's getting very old now for a kid who's like performing stuff too. Like he's gonna have to start wrestling soon.
For reals.
For me, like it's sort of hard for me to crap on this because when I was at AEW Dynamite last Wednesday, they did the go home segment for this match before Dynamite started, and the way that the crowd reacted to these guys, I was like, I don't hate it. It's not for me, but like
it's for someone.
It's for someone.
Just not me.
It was very much an indie comedy wrestling match. Like
JBL takes offense to that.
This hurts me deeply because this seems like this would be like the middle of the card match on Mystery Wrestling where we think it's a real wrestling match.
But then
it's not. This is not. Like it tried for comedy, but
Yeah.
it was too up its own ass.
Yeah.
I don't know, Benny. I disagree with you on that one. I'm sorry that I do, but I do.
Oh, it's fun.
I guess no thumb for me. It's thumbs down.
Thumbs down. No. Here's what I'll say. I don't think it helps. Not to say that this was going to be a 5-star classic, but I also think it doesn't help when I was just like, wait a minute, these two went from hating each other to be a tag team. Where have I missed the plot development? Well, unless you're like the 7 of us that watch Ring of Honor, I'm just like, that development of why they became a tag team happened over there, and I was just like, y'all should have filled this in. I mean, I knew why they were a team because I watched Ring of Honor too. But still, I'm like, Also, I am happy
just because they're 2 middle-aged white guys, but you know.
I mean, that's also fair. But shout out to Trent, who is wrestling in this pink cast. I love it. I was like, yes, Shotzi Blackheart has proved that you can wrestle in a cast and you can use it as a weapon.
Also, very sad for no Dark Sue.
I know. I needed the black SUV to be pulling up. It's not even a van no more. It's just an SV. It's an SUV.
An SVU.
No, not an SVU. An SUV. But yeah, Boom and Doom win this match. Oh no! And we can move on with our lives. This was here. I was so mad.
Anything to do with Hook of this entire freaking show.
I was so mad. I was like, how are we gonna give the Workhorsemen like 3 minutes? Like, what happened? Like, what's T? Like, to be fair, when we got to this match in Tailgate Brawl, I was like, y'all got like 10 minutes. We got to figure out what we doing. I was so mad for the Workhorsemen in this match. Eddie Kingston, I love you. Hook exists. Hook, we gonna talk about your bitch ass later. I was like, what are we doing?
I wish I cared.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
I was like, this sucks because it was basically a squash match, and like, I'm mad for the Workhorsemen.
Yeah, they've been doing such good work lately, and they're back together. And for all the crap I gave them when I watched ROH, they're a really cohesive tag team versus Eddie Kingston, who's still on his return trip and being held back by the guy that he took under his wing.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston's gonna have some words for this kid.
Is he? Or is he joining the ops?
I don't know. I mean, we'll get there when we get to the main event. But let's talk more into detail about the final Tailgate Brawl match, which bled into, the main show. And I'm just like, Okada continues to be the greatest gift to me. I was just like, how do you show up like halfway through the match? That was crazy work.
He's not going to enter on the pre-show. He's Okada and the champion. Yeah. He has to wait till they start the main show.
Was so hilarious. And then when he finally showed up, like, we spent like 5 whole minutes getting an entrance from him. And
yep.
It was the equivalent of the final countdown being played throughout the whole entire Anarchy in the arena. Like, the match is still going and Okada's music is still playing.
While Hechicero is getting the crap kicked out of him by Neon, like, seriously.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Well, they look up the ramp and like Okada's like this, and like they pan back to the ring and everybody's still going at it, and he's still posing.
Oh.
It's like he's like this bitch.
Very well put together this way. Yeah, no, the way to do it.
This was a fun match again because it was like, oh yeah, this is a normal Friday night match in CMLL with these boys. Mm-hmm. Neon and Mascara Dorada holding down the first half of this match because the bad guys decided to be like, hey, let's attack Místico and take him out of the equation real quick. So then it becomes technically it's supposed to be a 3-on-2, but then it became a 2-on-2 because Okada wasn't here. Then it became a 3-on-3 because Místico came back in, and everyone's like, this was convoluted. And those of us that watch CMLL is like, you thought.
No,
this is par for the course.
Yeah, comparatively, this was easy to follow. It had actual beats to it.
For reals. And then, of course, throughout the match, Takeshita and Okada fighting like a married couple. They can't get on the same page. They keep trying to one-up each other. And Hechiceto's just like, you guys, I'm trying to win this championship here. Can you please stop fighting for like 5 seconds?
And right after that, Okada hits the Rainmaker on Takeshita.
I'm just like,
I loved Hechicero like trying to play
he's playing a peacekeeper.
Like, no, it's all good, but come on.
I can't.
We need an Hechicero heel turn Two-Face side. Like he has to go like more heel just to beat up all the people inside the Don Callis family.
It's really crazy of how tame he is as a heel here in AEW, and then in CMLL, he's beating people up on a weekend basis. Which, by the way, he on Friday, which we're on last Friday's CMLL, which we're gonna talk about tomorrow. Like Echisoto had a lot of fun in that match, and yeah, there was a lot of AEW folks on the CMLL show last Friday too, because we had Jet Speed make their official tag team debut as a team in CMLL, which went over crazy good. And then Commander was flying everywhere in the main event, which was baller to watch, and I'm happy.
Also
and I missed
good.
it. Yes. But again, I forgot to mention this was for the CMLL World Trios Championships. This was a fun match. Sky Team ends up retaining the championships, and Mascara, we're gonna talk about you a little bit later in the show because I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm also very happy. But we're gonna talk about that later.
They worked well. Neon took most of the offense against him. Mystico selling the injury well enough, but seemed to still be a little slow by like half a step for some reason. And Okada and Takeshita continue to fall out, which is great. And then, of course, they don't focus on the Sky Team, who have just won the titles, giving them their moment on TV. They focus on the ramp multiple times after they've already done the selling of what's going on.
I was just like, what are we doing, you guys? Like, it's whatever. This marked the beginning of a not so fun night for the Don Callis family, which we will continue to talk about as we go through the rest of this show. Now, let's get into the main card proper. I mean, technically this was on the main card, but let's get into the official, first match that was advertised from the main card. And what opens Full Gear main card is a singles match, Pac versus Darby Allin. And I was just like, hot damn, Pac, I have missed you so much, and I'm so happy to see you back in singles action. I mean, let's be all the way real. I was like, is Darby Allin doing Darby Allin things? This kid is throwing his body against anything but the kitchen sink. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a kitchen sink at some point with him.
Came close with him going through the ropes on the corner there.
Jeez, Louise Darbs. This was nuts. I was like, I will continue to say this. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, Pac, you jacked beast, you. I was like, oh my God. The amount of times that he was throwing Darby around this ring too was crazy.
Well, also the fact that this was really what was going to open the show when the original thing was put out, and it was like, but we're having a singles match. Yeah, there's probably going to be like interference or something, but it's a singles match. How can this open the pay-per-view when it's going to be so damn bloody? It held its own.
Mm-hmm.
There was really good storytelling within it. Everything worked well for the most part. Yes, the interference we knew was coming. Thank you to Wheeler Yuta, and then you've got the ending that we all expected, which was a cheating to win. Or I'm sorry, I expected. But in general, it just was. It was a really good opening match, at least in my opinion.
I completely agree with you, JBL. Like this was a perfect way, even if the other one didn't have the overrun. Like this would have been a great way to start off because Darby is one of those guys where, like sort of like Mox or Orange Cassidy, and the way that like they sort of change the room when they show up, and Pac playing against Darby's ragdoll style, like
oh my God,
like he just beat the piss out of Darby, and Darby does Darby things.
Well, I'm sitting here like I've had second-degree burns, and I know how much it hurts to actually have like any friction on that at all. He's taking bumps on that. They're writing in a spot where he's ripping the bandages off and then dragging his. This guy must be addicted to pain because that is terrifyingly hurtful to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that one made my stomach flip.
I was like,
Also, can we ask, like, what was Pac going for on that turnbuckle? Like, what do you think they were supposed to have happen?
That's a good question.
Because nothing came of it when he went up to look at, he inspected it, like he was supposed to rip it off, and then he didn't. And then it seemed like they called an audible in the ring, but I had no idea.
I noticed that at one point the the turnbuckles were zip tied. So
Yeah,
maybe like he was gonna go rip it off or something,
Expose the
and was
turnbuckle.
just like, I'm gonna need a pair of scissors with
I guess
Ricochet.
so. Yeah, it looked like he went for like an untying thing. It wasn't there, and then he's looking around, and you can tell he jumps back and like calls an audible in Darby's ear, and then kicks him a couple times, and then nothing came. Like the commentary was going like he was trying to go for that thing. I guess he's not pulling the cover off the but maybe he was going to use it as a weapon. I
Yeah,
just wonder if that was a botch in the ring cruise thing or something. Like I have no idea.
I was just like, how now? Why are we zip tying? I was like, why are we zipping tying the turnbuckles? I was like,
Oh,
what is happening?
saving money, but I guess that maybe they were in the wrong turnbuckle too. Who knows?
yeah.
That's very fair. I mean, that turnbuckle would eventually get used, just not in the way that we thought later.
Oh,
in
that
the
was
evening.
so scary, and I'm so glad
That
it didn't get used the way I thought it would.
We're gonna get into that because I was just like, I knew it wasn't. We weren't gonna actually see something, but the visual of it was kind of nuts.
Little
So
bit, little bit.
just a little bit, but thanks to the assistance of Wheeler Yuta, Pac hits Darby with the bat and picks up the win. So Pac wins this singles bout, which we're probably going to carry this into the Continental Classic, which we will discuss at the very end of the show. But I thought this was a very solid way to open, Full Gear. Well, I mean, technically we got the Trios Championships, but the actual advertised main card of this was
Right.
pretty good. I liked this one. Moving on to the next match that we had, and I was just like, this is where we got this match. So this was a 4-way women's tag team match in which the winner would get to pick their stipulation in the semifinals round of the women's tag team tournament going on and still going on. So, of course, we had the team of Marina Shafir and the Megasis, Megan Bayne, taking on the Love Bombs, which is Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, versus the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, versus the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. I'm going to make this point here. And Benny, you and I brought this up you brought this up initially, and then I co-signed it. I was just like, Megan and Penelope were the only ones to take advantage of the fact that this whole pay-per-view is being sponsored by DC. I was very surprised. And Darby too. Darby was the Invisible Man coming out. Where are the DC inspired ring gear? I was like, why would you only see 3 of y'all do that? That was so bad. I was like, how dare you?
Well, I mean, like Sky Blue tried.
So,
like,
she tried.
Her eyes were Harley Quinn. Like I was sitting there when I'm watching them, going, "Oh, Harley Quinn eyes." That makes sense. And then Penelope comes out as Harley Quinn. I'm like, "Is everyone gonna be Harley Quinn? Like, what's going on with this?"
Apparently, there's no other characters in the Batman universe, but
or DC in general, apparently.
For rails, which is crazy. But that was just my little nitpick of the whole night. I'm like, how you gonna have a whole pay-per-view sponsored by DC and none of y'all take the advantage except for like 3? But I digress. As far as the match goes, I had fun with this one. I wasn't expecting it to be a classic by any means necessary, but my God, Megan Bayne just tossing girls left and right this whole entire match. I was just like, oh, Megan, and also shout out to Megan pulling double duty. She's here and then she continues to travel back and forth between AEW and Japan as she is finishing up the Stardom Tag Team Tournament too, which is crazy that she's, homegirl is dedicated and getting this paper out here. I will say, I think, go for it.
Just in general, like, do we think because of who won this match through the means that they did that the Love Bombs are not going to win the titles?
Wholeheartedly.
Oh yeah.
And for me on my list, do we think that the one team that doesn't have a name is going to win the tag team tournament?
Possibly. I know the 3 of us had a conversation before, and I know me and Benny have talked about this too. With these 4 being our finalists in the tournament, I am still calling that it's going to be the Babes of Wrath. I'm calling Babes of Wrath and Marina and Megan in the finals, with ultimately Marina and Megan being the ones to win this tournament. Now, I don't want to play the what if Penelope Ford was still, if she didn't get hurt and she was in here, would I have said that? Probably not. I probably would have picked Babes of Wrath and Love Bombs to be in the finals. But because Marina is here, I'm like, I'm kind of pulling for Megan and Marina to win. So
it's a true heel team, but it's the only team that doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
That's true. We got to figure something else out. I was just like,
true.
Step on me, mommy.
Maybe. I was like, I'm not.
I was thinking that, with Megan and Marina being like, besides the Sisters of Sin being like the only heel team in the bracket at this point, and if they need somebody to chase, like they're you can't get any better than Megan and Marina.
Mm-hmm.
Just
they've been the surprise with this and seeing Marina working. It's been amazing to see.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been enjoying this too, is because I was like, before we really didn't get outside of maybe like one or two, ROH matches, whether it's by herself or when she's teaming with Wheeler. I'm actually really happy that, unfortunately, it was not fun to hear that Penelope got injured, but in a weird way, it's a blessing in disguise because now Marina gets to be on television a lot more in ring action too. So as far as the match goes, I mean, again, this is chaotic. This is 8 people doing all kinds of crazy things. I have to say, I am so proud of Sky and Julia and Harley. I'm just like, I'm so proud of y'all. And they truly are like the homegrown talent for AEW. And Harley's energy is so infectious. I love that she and Willow are paired together because their energies just match. And yeah, this was just a lot of fun. Of course, with the Love Bombs winning, they get to pick their stipulation against Marina and Megan in the semifinals. I wonder if they're really going to do like what they mentioned, a Taipei death match. I'm like, what does that even entail? Like, what is happening?
If I remember correctly, there are barbed wire ropes, and we'll go from there. Like Mick Foley's been involved in one. I know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's like double-sided wrist tape dipped in glass as well.
Crazy.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, okay. While JVL does that, we're going to move on to our next match.
Here it is. Ready? A Taipei deathmatch is a violent and bloody style of professional wrestling or deathmatch characterized by the use of implements like broken glass, which is taped to the wrestler's hands. It's a no-holds-barred and can be very bloody. First mention of this match type was in ECW at Hardcore Heaven in 1995, where it was Axel Rotten versus Ian Rotten.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Well, that would have been a bloody one, that's for sure.
But yeah, it's what they've been basically teasing. It's going to be glass, basically like blood sport or kickboxer or something like that, where you put the glass on the fists.
Oh, this is going to be crazy. But then again, the women's division goes hardcore like that. So should be interesting if that is the stipulation. But, we will have to wait and see what the Love Bombs choose as, their match stipulation against Megan and Marina. But moving on into our next match, though. My heart hurts a little bit, though, because spoiler alert, Bro Dito is no longer champions. But I really like this match, you guys. It's just like, I had such a blast with this one. I was just like, oh, this is so good. But this is for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Bro Dito, the champions, going into this match, taking on the challengers, FTR, with Big Stoke at ringside. This was just a blast. This was just so much fun. I couldn't stop smiling the whole entire time.
Well, they started off with Bandito slamming Brody into them, like picking the big man up. Like, you can't go wrong.
I was just like, this man's strength is wild. Well,
I
don't have a lot of notes on this. I had fun time.
Go ahead, Benny.
Oh.
I was just gonna say that this is probably one of my favorite matches on the show. Just for the simple fact that like this was great tag team wrestling, and I love good tag team wrestling. And uh, everything down to like even the belly intro with Stokely, which was like a Halle Berry movie from the from the 90s.
Yep.
It was like I didn't get it until somebody said it online. I was like, oh no, now that makes total sense. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, and I was wondering, Benny, while I was watching, whether you were going to join the side that was up, the bald men against FTR.
Never against FDR.
Oh, really? Okay. Like for me, Mikey, the things that stood out to me, one, the way that Cash is wearing his hair now, he is trying to hide the fact that he's becoming FTR bald too. It's very, very close to being that right now. But the other thing was, start of the match when Bandito did his pose and his gun thing toward Cash, and all of them in my head I'm going, alleged assault, alleged assault, alleged assault.
Alleged aggravated assault.
with a firearm.
Lord help us.
There's got to be that tinge of it there. Like, man, you're just playing on me on that thing, and like the crowd got into it, and then chanting it at Stokely, no hose, no hose. It was really well put together. It was so good.
This match was so fantastic, and again, we got lots of false finishes. We had some crazy stuff happen. You know, I know he can, but it was a pleasant surprise for me to watch, Cash go flying across the place, like jumping off top ropes and everything. I'm like, Cash, my dude, like, I know you can, but it's been a hot minute because mostly I haven't seen you fly in a hot minute. So like when he went to the top rope and it's like, yeah, and like I was like, whoa, Cash, calm down.
Well, and then like healing up how he puts the announce table back together for them.
I was laughing at that. I was just like, oh, Cash, I love you. It's just the small moments that I find so much.
Them talking about Tony Schiavone's tattoos when they were talking about Brody King basically having no room for more tattoos.
I was just like, this is getting out of hand. But yeah, man, this was such a fantastic match. It took everything. FTR had to throw everything. And you know what? They didn't even win with the Shatter Machine, which I was just like, thank goodness. Kind of, not really.
They did the Shatter Machine to Bandito, but like he jumped too early, so it was like the most muffed Shatter Machine I've ever seen.
I was just like, okay. And then it was the boy Brodito tried. I was like, oh, this is awful Shatter Machine. Don't do it again. Like,
no.
But you know what? Regardless, I mean, Bandito would post this later on. I was just like, I hope this isn't the end of Brodito, but if it is, like, we can revisit this later. But man, what a 5-month run they had. They've become one of the most over tag teams this year in AEW. They are so great. And also, this has been a really good year for Brody King. I honestly think Tony Khan, after seeing the reception of Brody, especially, I believe it started at Grand Slam Mexico when he came out with that FI shirt. And I was just like, oh, yes. And then it made national news too, which was crazy. But this has been a really fun run. It really did. But this was a really fun run for Brody and Bandito. And you know what, Tony Khan, please don't keep Bandito off of my AEW television screen. I know he's the ROH champ, but keep him on AEW television still, please. I love Bandito, and he fits really well here in AEW. I mean,
Bandito is now free to go after that national title, so
that is very, very true. And you know what? I hope we still get to see Brody King on my television too, because I like Brody. So really fun match. FTR are your new tag team champions, which I think is going to be fun because we don't really have any heel tag teams in this division right now. And what better way to have your babyface teams than chase after FTR, who have pretty much done everything in their career up to this point, and they're still going strong. So yeah, this was definitely one of my highlight matches of the entire night. This was a fantastic bout. And I was just like, this was like third on the card. I'm like, what you mean we still got like a bunch more matches after this? I was like, whoa.
A little drained afterwards. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of energy put in this one.
I was just like, ooh, I got to take a break real quick. And then we get into our next match, which, you know what? I think it was smart to put this match here. But
yeah,
my God, this was also just a fun mesh of just ridiculousness and crazy athleticism. So this is the Full Gear Casino Gauntlet match to crown the inaugural AEW National Champion. AEW got beef with NWA over the design. I was
and
just
the title
like,
and everything else.
And everything else. I was like, I cracked so hard during the watch along, Benny, when you're just like, it's just the NWA title. Like when they show the close up, it's like it is the NWA title. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is funny. But oh my goodness. So this was fun just because for me this was really fun in a match for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Ricochet just getting his ass handed to him the whole entire time, and then ultimately, spoiler alert, picking up the win here. But I don't know why it shouldn't have been as funny, but watching Ricochet and hearing the microphone beat up on MVP when Ricochet was using the microphone to beat up MVP, for some reason that popped me, and it shouldn't have, but it was ridiculous in the way. And then he continues to talk in the mic too as he's beating up MVP, which was great.
Yeah, sure, it still works.
Ricochet, getting destroyed by the Death Riders and then like pretending to try to work with them only for him to get beat up by them. Kevin Knight defying all laws of physics and gravity. Like when he made his entrance, I'm like, how did you get height on that jump attacking when you got to the end of the ramp? I was like, it looked like he dived off the ladder or something with how much height he gets.
He got up to the second rope. He was up at second rope level.
This is nuts. And then outside of Okada, like Kevin Knight's drop kicks is crazy. I was like, his drop kicks are nuts. This was just a fun one. Watching the image of Claudio picking up Orange Cassidy by his sweatpants was hilarious to watch too. Speedball Mike Bailey putting the martial arts on everybody. This was just a fun match.
Or Orange Cassidy smacking Ricochet in his bald head before he gets German suplexed off the top rope.
My second baby daddy, Mark Davis, bike pile driving people left and right.
Oh my God. The Ricochet taking that basically into a Fire Thunder driver, like flipping
those cells were nuts from everyone. I was like, that's how you reestablish Mark Davis. I'm so happy he was in this match.
Well, then we got the meat upon meat with him, Claudio staring at each other, and then the Hurt Business pop back up.
God, it was so good. There was Roddy going demon time when he came. Like, holy hell. I was like, Roddy! This was just such a great match.
I think it was like Ricochet that like took like the RBD pile driver bump like from Mark Davis. Like Davis hits the pile driver and like RBD like and Ricochet like spring loads like and
just flies off.
It just flies off. Oh man. And to be honest with you, there's no better person to be carrying that title. Like if it's gonna be like going around all those promotions, shit, he was doing this before he got signed to WWE anyways. So why not, right?
He's right in there with it, and he's got his two guys backing him up for the posse as well. So you get a couple more guys getting more exposure. It's a really well picked out thing there. I'll also say I always love this stipulation in general because of the fact that they always mention it's not really a set interval. It's whenever we want to, so you know when there's scripted stuff for it to do. I say to Tony Khan, you're a coward if you don't do this. I want a 2-hour Dynamite where the only match we have is the Casino Battle Royal or Casino Gauntlet match for something. And so it just continues through all the ad breaks. More and more people, too. You get half the roster out there in this Casino Gauntlet match, and you do not know who's going to win it.
Just absolute chaos. And
yeah, like what was it? Like the gauntlet that started Kofi Mania, right? Like
yeah. And those are usually only about 5 people. Like that's a set number of people on the other ones. So this one, It could be anybody. It could be people coming out like 5 seconds apart. It could be so many things, and it like it did for the storyline here with Daniel Garcia getting chased off by Daddy Magic. For like that's the only reason Daddy Magic was in there was to chase Garcia off.
And I'm glad you brought that up, JVO, because I thought why I also like this match too is that we had intertwining stories for a whole bunch of different set of characters in this match too. Of course, Conglomeration and Death Riders Part 85 is happening, which is crazy. Now that we know who's participating in the C2 this year, like the tease with Kevin Knight and Speedball fighting each other for that brief moment and going up against each other was there. Again, reestablishing Mark Davis of why he is Dunkzilla, and I love him for it. This is great. And again, like you said, Ricochet is your inaugural AEW National Champion, and his first title defense, it will be at Final Battle in 2 weeks. So I'm very interested to see who his opponent is.
Queen Aminata.
You know what? I was like, hey, there is no rules that this can't be an intergender title, which I think
none at all.
Listen, there are Ricochet has. I almost said something. Let me reframe it. Ricochet is no stranger to fighting in mixed singles matches or tag matches. He has had women as
Ricochet beats up women.
Yes, and I stopped myself because I know better. So I reframed it to make sure that I said it correctly. So if this was an intergender title, which I don't think it will become, but Tony Khan, you have somehow listened to our weird, obscure ideas on this podcast, and I feel like when you make those changes on AEW television, they're just for us. Honestly. But this was such a fun match. This was really, really fun. I had a blast.
It was pretty well paced for me as well. There were a lot of good people to be in there, people that had a good storyline around different things. The back and forth between Kevin Knight and Speedball, where they basically did moves that they dodged from each other the entire time, like well paced, well plotted. And I would have loved to see Shelton and Bobby go a little bit longer against each other, get a little more just fun with that, but it was what it was.
Yeah. All I was gonna say about this was with the opening bit, like as you said, like with Bobby and Shelton, like I thought that could have gone a little bit more, but I understand where they were going with it. Like they were just like, we're just killing time until we kill somebody else.
Oi.
Oh man. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I think this was really smart to place it after the tag team match because I was like, I got my chuckles. There were some fun spots. Everybody did great. We intertwined stories that were happening, and this was a lot of fun. So, after this match, oh my god, bloodied, bloodied, and I'm like the Forco came out again. So, I also really enjoyed this match for what it was too. Kyle O'Reilly once again, part 2 Electro Boogaloo with crimson all over his face.
He hit a major vein or artery. He was pumping.
Oh yeah, it was just nonstop bleeding. I was just like, what is happening? I was like, somebody nicked themselves too deep.
Yeah, but it seemed like that was a problem. But that was the problem the entire show with this. Every match that had blood or was supposed to have blood, whoever gigged way too deep every time.
Mark Briscoe, you're coming up next.
Samoa Joe, who's spitting it during every promo because he can't breathe.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna talk about that when we get to the main event. But let's talk about this one. So this was a no holds barred match between Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly. This match stemmed from the fact that Kyle O'Reilly made Moxley tap out during Blood and Guts to lose for the Death Riders in that capacity. And Kyle O'Reilly cutting that promo after Blood and Guts that Moxley saw, I was like, now Tony Khan and AEW, y'all know you played that because we love to rage bait Moxley, and it worked because we get this match now at Full Gear. Kyle O'Reilly is, I don't want to use underutilized because I feel like a lot of people use that term very loosely. But I'm like, Kyle O'Reilly is my underdog MVP. I was like, the last month or so, he's been on a fun run, and I'm excited.
Yeah, this was the AEW version of the Great Dick Miller movie Buckets of Blood. Like, like this was insane, and just as we expected, we got a fork to the nipple. Um, we got uh, Moxley tapping out again, and like I love these simple little stories that they've been telling lately over the past month and a half.
And then you also have him where he's watching O'Reilly being attended to afterwards because he's bleeding from his arm and everything else, and saying
Hmm.
he's why is he getting all this attention, whining and crying about it, and that's his reaction to go back in and beat the crap out of him again. I don't know if I see the Death Riders are getting sick of him losing or him being crazy, but there's supposedly there's signs that a breakup is coming. I just don't know if I see it yet.
I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
because I have a theory.
Okay, what's
I have
your
a theory. So I have a theory, and I'll go into more detail when we talk about the Continental Classic. But well, first of all, there was a promo on the social medias with Moxley like throwing a hissy fit and literally losing his absolute mind, and the Death Riders were backstage. Now everyone was just quiet as they were letting Mox. I looked over to Pac, and Pac's like, "I'm about to throw this man out this group," like because there's a story to be told that Pac did the one thing that Moxley has not been able to do in the last couple months. Pac was, even though it was with an assist, Pac was able to beat Darby in a match. Mox has yet to do so in that capacity. And
Hmm.
spoiler alert, Moxley is in the Continental Classic. Tony Khan, if you know what's really fun storytelling, have Moxley lose every single match.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
or get himself DQ'd.
For reals. So this is going to be really, really fun. But yeah, Kyle O'Reilly bleeding out the head was nuts. Fork came into play. We had chains. We had, this was bloodied. And Kyle O'Reilly once again made Moxley tap out.
Used the chain because his left arm was busted. He did the whole thing there. He was torquing that elbow, the ankle too. He was really torquing it.
Oh man.
100%.
Oy. Oy.
I'm just glad that Kyle O'Reilly is getting this shine right now because he is one of the best, uh, and he has been one of the best for like the past like 15 years. you know,
I did
You-
love. I can't remember in this one if they both did the rebound spot because they both do it.
Mm,
That like where they go halfway through the ropes and come back out again to like hit them with something.
yeah,
can't
I
remember.
know I know O'Reilly hit it, but Mox hasn't been doing that King Kong lariat for a little bit. I can't remember to be honest with you though.
No,
No,
that makes
I think
sense.
you're right because I haven't seen that lariat come, up in the last couple of Moxley matches we've seen. So,
It's all about the bulldog choke, man.
I mean, apparently, another thing too, I really haven't seen him hit the paradigm shit as often now either, which is kind of interesting to see.
It's true. He did hit it in this match, or maybe he just hit the Death Rider, but he hit something.
That is very, very true. So, but again, Kyle O'Reilly wins this no holds barred match by making Moxley tap for the second time in 2 weeks. And like you brought up already, JVL, Moxley attacking Kyle O'Reilly afterwards, which of course you had Roddy and Orange come out for the save and to help and carry him back into the back. So I was just like, okay, this was a bloodied mess. I wonder what match is next.
Jesus.
The fact that you put the bloody matches back to back was crazy work, Tony. This was fun. So this is for the TNT Championship, and they're in a no DQ match with a stipulation that if Mark loses, he has to join the Don Callis family. Now Mark, we got to call you to the carpet, sir, because we got to talk. Because this was he was the one who gigged, and it was just crimson in like less than 2 minutes. I was like, at least Kyle O'Reilly, it was like slowly over time when his head got busted open. But Mark was just covered in crimson the entire match, and this was nuts.
Some gnarly bumps in this match too. Some super gnarly ones.
Gosh.
Yeah.
This was probably my favorite match of the entire night. I think because for a no DQ match, I think what you tend to see happen sometimes is that the spots kind of overtake the actual, like, this is no DQ, but there's still wrestling going on. I think they paced out the spots pretty well. It wasn't like boom, 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 like in a quick succession. They, played with it. This also gave me one of the craziest images that I saw this, evening, with Kyle Fletcher taking that screwdriver and sticking it with the pointy bit up through the turnbuckle. I'm like, I know they're not going to drop people on there, but that imagery alone was like, made me clutch my pearls. I'm like, oh, that's a crazy image, y'all.
What I worry about is they're going to get to a point where they actually do it. They're going to figure out some way to do it and make it really bad. And Mark Briscoe will be the one to take that bump.
I was like, listen, Mark, we can't. Like, we I know you're crazy, but please, no. But yeah, there was some fun. There were some crazy spots. Again, those silver ladders, I was just like, someone's going to die with these things. Like, when they crashed through them, I'm like, what is this? Like, my baby's first ladder? Like, what were I was like, what?
And then, of course, when it breaks cleanly, it's super sharp where that metal was. So he's picking it up and moving it around. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to get torn up from that if they land on it again.
I was like, it's about to pierce someone's side. It's about to puncture a lung. And then when Mark went through the stacks of chairs with Kyle, I was just like, I swear, I thought I saw the back of his head hit those chairs. I was like,
you did. He misjudged it. He must have been out on his feet. He went the wrong way.
God.
Also, Kyle's poor back. That bump through the barbed wire table, he slid off that table. Like, it tore.
Shout out to Kyle Fletcher, though. The way that he caught Mark as they were falling down through said table when he jumped off the ladder. I was just like,
God.
This match was crazy. But once again, Kyle Fletcher, as crazy as this match was, continues to prove that I'm ready to see him as world champion in the next year or two. Like, get this man the championship.
As long as he doesn't do the last ride anymore.
That's true. That was scary,
because
Kyle.
Mark's head bounced off that canvas. Like, he went down hard on that. Came up that way.
Yeah. Oh. Every time he's hit that in the past few weeks, I'm like, don't do that. Like, you just don't do that. Like,
it is literally the most dangerous power you can take.
He's had way too many risky calls in the past, like, 6 months. Retiring Adam Cole for one. Oh. But you can't be doing that, man. Like, as great as you are, you can't be doing that, Like, they did a great job with this story, in that, like, both guys came out looking better than they did going in, because everybody was like, again? Like, and I get the stipulation, but again? And then the video package for Mark nearly made me cry.
God, that one hurt. I was like, no, don't show me Jay. Oof, that was tough.
Well, seeing that on that thing, made me think he was going to lose. Like, I was like, oh God.
That's what I said too. I was like, oh, they're giving us the video package. It's heartfelt. He going to lose. Because I have been trained as a wrestling fan. If we get like the special entrances or the heartfelts, they going to lose.
I also love Dom Fallis's comment. He's like, oh God, if something happens to Mark, am I responsible for all those kids?
Okay, speaking of Don, like, there was one line he said in this match that made me burst out laughing so hard, and that's when he called Mark Briscoe a crayon eater. I was like, not the crayon eater! I was dying.
Everybody ready to poop the rainbow?
I was like, Don, you can't say that. Oh my gosh. Because, like, listen, there's this, like, reading someone, I was like, is there a palm tree? Because that was just full on shade. Because there's so many underlying repercussions with that one line alone. I was like, oh, that is like a stab of a line because I was like, this crayon eater. I was just like, oh, you're calling Mark dumb. Like with just that line alone, you're saying Mark is dumb. He is stupid. he his IQ is not the highest thing on the planet. I'm like, oh, that one hurt me. Don. As I was laughing, I'm like, God. I also did say I was going to put that in my back pocket as an insult in case I have to bring it out against someone. And I was like, that is such a good diss. I'm going to write this down real quick.
There you go. Nice job, Dom Fellas.
But man, this match was nuts. Your Mark Briscoe is your new TNT champion. Also, they the custom belt is clean with the gray and white camo. I was just like, also during the scrum, I was just like watching that blood just slowly drip down his forehead, and I was just like, someone didn't stitch him up enough. Like, I was like, this is nuts. But shout out to these boys. And I agree with you, Benny. I think going into this, I was just like, I'm excited. But it's not even been a month since the last time they fought each other for this championship. I thought we would have waited to let it breathe until we got to round 5. Nah. But they both ended up looking really strong. And it gives something compelling, especially for a certain Kyle Fletcher going into a certain classic that we're going to talk about at the end of the show. So good job all around, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. This was fun and amazing and nuts and great. Moving on, though. Now, this was the spot where I thought someone died, especially when I saw, what was it, Matt Jackson, when he bounced like a basketball off the mat on the floor. I was like...
You mean when Luchasaurus pulled a deuce and didn't catch him?
I was like, I was like, Luchasaurus, I love you, but you... Oh, man, Matt Jackson, he bounced off that mat on the floor. I was like, God, someone check on him.
Luchasaurus wasn't selling. He was just standing there thinking for a second, not paying attention, and Matt just went off. And then luckily rolled in and tagged himself out. He's probably like dazed at that point.
God, that was a scary spot. But this is the $1 million money match. Kenny Omega and Jurassic Express taking on Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks. I'm going to be completely honest. For me personally, my standout was obviously Josh Alexander in this match. I was just like, yes! Not to say that him and Echiseto at All Out Toronto was not a show-stopping performance. It was like, this is the Josh Alexander that I love, putting people in hurt and ankle locks. And I am waiting because I haven't seen him do it yet, but I was like, I'm ready for him to start spiking people with the C4 finisher. I love the C4 finisher. Like, it's crazy. I said this during the watch along. I'm just like, the Bucks are having a really great year, in my opinion. Like they have not had a bad match that they've been involved in. This was fun. I had a good time with this. Of course, there was a moment where I was like, oh God, why is Kenny limping? No, we just got you back. Please, what's going on? I was just like, no.
Well, I think he was partially selling too, because Josh had been like targeting that ankle, but I don't know. I kind of disagree with you, Mikey, that the Bucks have had a good year so far. They've had a couple good matches, but for the first part of this year, no one wanted them to be around. They were kind of boring for the most part. Mm-hmm. They didn't turn around until they lost all their money and started down this path. And they finally actually become not relevant, but just fun to watch again. And so this will be interesting to see if this face turn sticks. And are they turning them face just to face FTR again?
That's also very true. I will make an addendum to my statement.
Benny just died inside.
I will make an addendum to my statement because I agree with you, so I'll make an addendum. I think the Bucks have had a fun year post Y'all in Texas, because that's when they lost because they were no longer EVPs of AEW, and that's when the downward spiral commenced. But hey, that goes to prove my point that downward spiral stories can be really great storytelling if used correctly. We're going to talk about somebody else next, where I think that now you should start making that happen for a certain, belt collector in the women's division. But anywho, So yeah, Benny, what did you think about this match?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like the Bucks. Well, I've never really seen a bad Bucks match, to be honest with you. Even though like they started out the year like JBL said, like Wrestle Dynasty, where like they had taken several months off, and then like their first match was back in Japan and not advertised. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all like, oh man, like I don't like this is fun, but like what's next, you know? And as you said, like since All In, like they're really good at like self-deprecating humor, like and I don't know if that particularly works for a good guy, but like we'll see.
I mean, look at
Um,
Orange Cassidy.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, I thought everybody was great in this. With Josh Alexander. Like I'm just so glad he's here, man. Just so glad he's here, and we're hopefully we'll get around to Josh Alexander, Kenny Omega in a one-on-one situation eventually. And
Oh
please
when
man,
God,
Kenny's not dying.
please.
yeah, exactly. When he's not being stretchered out.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, I know that the attack angle at the end was to be able to get to see the Bucks turn there, but also was it also to kind of write Kenny off for a couple weeks too? Because it seems like he's just been tiring himself out. I mean, with good reason. He's still recovering from having full surgery down there because of his diverticulitis. So it's like there's a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Kenny because, but like, what I mean is that like, uh, I've noticed this change ever since he came back. That like, I don't think he's having fun right now. Like, because he's a good guy, and most of what we know as Kenny Omega is is a shithead heel, you know, and like that's where he has the most fun. And like him just coming out posing, hitting a B trigger, like that sounds awful to me. Like, like just coming out, playing the hits, going home. Like, but I'm still happy to have him, but I much rather see him as a heel.
Heel Kenny Omega is a lot of fun. That is for sure. But I mean, as it was alluded to, Josh and the Bucks do win. They get the $1 million. um, the Bucks walk up the ramp. Don Callis is leading up the ramp with the Don Callis family attacking Omega and Jurassic Express. After the match, the Bucks have a crisis of id, and then they decide that no, Kenny is their friend. They run down, they fight off everyone, they make peace with Jurassic Express. They go to shake hands with Kenny. Kenny slaps it away, and then they hug it out and kumbaya afterwards.
To a
So
point,
I'm like,
yes.
or will they? So we shall see with what the development of the Bucks and Kenny's relationship go into as we can go into the end of the year. But yeah, Josh Alexander, definitely this was his standout for me, and I was just like, give me more Josh Alexander matches. Just say,
Yeah.
very surprised. I'm not. We'll get there. I was just like, now that I think about it, I was like, it would have been fun to see him in the Continental Classic, but I get it. But maybe next year. Moving on though to the semi-main event. So I am going to preface by saying this. This was definitely one of the slower matches of the evening, but I was enthralled, and here's why. But before I get into that, this is for the AEW Women's World Championship. Stat Daddy herself, Chris Statlander, defending her title against 14, 13, however many belt collector, Mercedes Moné in this match. Monet. So I'm not gonna lie, because it was late and this was semi-main eventing. This was definitely on the slower side of things. I was getting a little sleepy, but in terms of energy-wise, not because I was bored with this match. I am gonna hold to this, and y'all can disagree with me, and I'm okay with this. To me, I think this was my favorite ring psychology storytelling match of the entire night, and because of the slow burn, because Chris, hurting, like quote unquote hurting, getting her arm hurt earlier in the match, and then again what does any good heel supposed to do? You see a weak spot, just like like prey hunting, in the wild. Well, hunters hunting their prey in the wild, you attack the weak spot. And Mercedes, this entire match, was working on different ways to continue to destroy Stat's arm and weaken her. But the consummate. Go ahead.
I find so funny because, yes, I understand the fact that it takes away her power, makes her less of a threat. But at the same time, your finisher, Mercedes, is to put someone in a backpack position who needs to have arm strength to hold themselves there. So if you truly were going after the arm there, you wouldn't be able to finish them off.
Which is very true. But again, definitely a slow burn. But I really liked this match. I was like, I really did.
Nothing wrong with that. It was a really, we talked about this earlier, I think before we got on the podcast, where this was such a different match than anything else on the card, and was allowed the time to do this because everything else was so high-paced and kind of spot monkey bloodfest that it stood out and really put Chris on the map as not a transitional champion. She's now kind of finally settled into, I'm going to be here for a bit. I've earned this. It wasn't just a fluke that I needed to transition off of Toni Storm to somebody else.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a lot of great spots in this match. There was one point where Chris had hit the Bailey the belly and then into a bank statement on Mercedes, which is pretty neat. And then there was another spot where Mercedes does an Eddie Guerrero tribute, and then directly after Chris does a Dean Malenko tribute. And I'm just sitting there Mwah!
When you know you're wrestling, you know you're wrestling. I will say that there was a moment of they talk too much near the end before the final spot where Chris gets out of the finisher and runs Mercedes into the current turnbuckle and does it again. And you hear Mercedes go, one more time, because knowing that it'll be a good thing to see. And then wham, you hit the third time on that. So.
I also love the special entrance for Chris. That was pretty neat.
Yes, just her crashing through the spaceship. Oh man. So again, I agree with both of you. This was definitely a different type, paced and style-wise match than what we got, because everything was been fast-paced for Full Gear. But this definitely slowed it down, but it did really well. Chris finally gets the win against Mercedes because this is their third encounter since Mercedes has been in AEW, and Chris is, up to this point, has never beaten Mercedes, but now she has. Now, Toni, where I need to see is I need to start seeing Mercedes go on a crash out. This is the second opportunity she's gotten at this AEW Women's World Championship. And again, she can get all these belts in these other indie promotions and these smaller promotions, but when it comes to the big one in AEW, she still can't get the job done. So I need to see her crash out a little bit, and then I would love to start seeing her start losing these belts little by little. Icarus flying too close to the sun is what I want to see in Mercedes really quickly. Let that downward spiral begin, because as we've seen, when you hit rock bottom, it ends up being a really fun story to tell, especially when you have nothing to lose. That is the most dangerous that anybody can be in wrestling and in life. So I'm interested to see where we go with Mercedes after this. All right. So up to this point, I was like, this has been a really great show. And then I looked at the last match. I was like, I know shenanigans are abound. Let's see how this goes down. So we get to the main event, which is for the AEW Men's World Championship. I am going to use what Hangman likes to say, because it's important to distinguish that there is a men's world title and a women's world title, because both are equally important in this company. Shout out to you, Hangers. You are forever my favorite. Especially after the year that you've had in terms of cutting a whole promo in Spanish. That is still my favorite moment of this year. Anywho, so this is a steel cage match for the AEW Men's World Championship. I'm gonna be honest. This was probably my least favorite match of the entire night. Not to say that it was bad, but when we finally got to see when the show went off the air, this match was here to put a vehicle into where we're going next in this weird story that we got going on. So also Samoa Joseph. Let's talk real quick because like I know we gig ourselves, to sell the Crimson. But Joe, I think, takes the award for the most blood I've witnessed someone lose in the entirety of the show. I was just like, it was a waterfall. I thought I was in a TLC music video. I was
His
like,
mouth
how much
was filling with it. His
I
mouth
was
kept
just like,
filling
what
with
is
it.
happening? Like, what, Joseph, what are we doing?
How was he still standing? He must have lost 2 to 3 pints of blood.
Get this man some orange juice. I was just like, what is happening? Like this was crazy. I will say though, shout out to Hangman's pants because I love that design. I was like, ooh, these colors are nice. You get one of these for the Fashion Award. Yes, until they got covered in blood. Yeah, so I feel like we can't really talk about this match unless we talk about like before we got the lights out and the return, because this was shenanigans. Ciabatta Bread appeared, the Meat Powerhouse Hobbs appeared, which I was like, okay, it's par for the course. Eddie Kingston came out to try to defend.
I got to ask about the Powerhouse Hobbs spot because they were obviously recreating Mark Henry and his botch where he physically, because he was that strong, ripped the chain off and ripped the lock off.
Yeah.
Do we think that was a gigged chain? I'm pretty sure Powerhouse could not do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure that was.
Oh, God.
Love Hobbs, but I don't think he's at that. He can't, like, do that. Maybe he could, but I feel like it was, even if he could, I feel like it was gigged even just a tiny bit to make sure it actually snapped.
True. I just found it funny that he gets Mark Henry slams, so he gets Mark Henry spots now everywhere.
Yeah, so...
I remember, like right as the match was beginning, like Mike Posey, the referee, was putting the lock on the cage, and like he just sort of like saw that he was in frame, and then just like dropped everything and ran out of frame. So like, he probably didn't want to bring attention to the to the chain or whatever,
Right.
Which is very true. So all that happens again. Eddie Kingston comes out and we even the odds a little bit. And so Joseph and Hangers are lying on the floor, both of them. Ref is knocked out at this point. And so out comes,
blood too.
And covered in blood as well. So out comes Mr. Hook in his orange jacket. He runs in. He comes through, you try to wake the ref up. He picks up the title, and I was just like, I think I know where this is going. Hook, I love you. But as soon as you gave that smirk to the camera, I was like, and there it is. Here we go. Hook hits the Hangman with the title. Everyone's losing their absolute mind in the arena. Hook takes off his jacket. Well, I mean, the crowd made noise, I should say. Hook takes off the jacket. He's wearing
mild.
Yeah, I was just saying, the crowd went mild. That was the big thing. Like, this was not the reveal they thought it was. This was not at all built up too well. This was just, oh, right. So, he was in the ops.
He takes off his jacket. He's wearing an ops shirt. He was with the ops all along. Joe pins Hangman. Samoa Joe is a two-time AEW World Champion. And then we have a bunch of, independent wrestlers coming out as part of the Ops dojo, apparently. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, you can't end the show like here because we're lingering too long. So I was just like, before we get into what ended the show and the last, stretch of it after the match, I'm just having to say, I was just like, Tony Khan, I bet, like, I know I'm probably not going to get an answer, but I'm like, I need answers. Like, why did we have this whole entire thing with Kingston and Hook over the last month, and this is the end result of where we were going? I was like, why?
Especially because you have to have that whole thing with, like, Powerhouse Hobbs taking Hook's spot in the ops.
I was like,
so
make
far
it make
back.
sense, Tony. Make it make sense.
On top of the fact, also, like, I understand they wanted all this stuff after the match, but Joe is sitting there bleeding out still, like, and he's got to like rest himself on the ropes. He can't really move.
I thought he was about to pass out. I thought he was about to pass out. I was like, somebody needs to get this man, please.
I'm going to actually try to salvage this.
Okay, please, I'd love for you to see.
My poor back.
Yes. Oh my god.
But you know, I think that like they were putting Eddie and Hook together just to make like a red herring, right? Like because Hook was still sort of fighting with the ops, but not really, right? Like
Right.
there'd be interactions with Joe, and then like they'd go off and do their own thing for like a couple weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now when Hobbs comes out or Shibata comes out, Eddie Kingston gets into the cage and fights off Shibata, right? So your expectations are lowered that Hook is gonna come in and run off Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know how, but then he turns because it's like as I said, it was a red herring all along. And whether people give a shit or not, that's a different story. But I thought it was pretty well put together.
I don't know how to react to that, Ben. Like, you described everything that was happening, and I still don't get it.
I tried.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and at the same time, the crowd goes wild. Of all the people, like, honestly, I know why you're doing what you're doing at the end of this for the return we had, but if we had him just show up in Hook's spot and knock out Hangman, that would make 10,000 times more sense.
Yeah, I agree. Cause like we've literally been on this podcast for what, like the last month, being like, what is going on with Hook? Why is he even here? You know?
What is he adding to Eddie Kingston? Nothing.
No, and
Yeah.
like, why is he doing his dad's moveset?
Well, he's been doing that since day one because he has no other way of doing it. He's a Nepo baby.
And like, speaking of Joe's blood, right? Like,
Yes.
Joe, I mean this in the nicest way possible, right? Joe, when he gets over, like, when he's been in a match for a while, is what I'm trying to say. Like, he turns red,
Yes.
right? Like, his skin turns red. Like, and I think that was with him being covered like head to toe was a little bit more or less sweat and the color of his skin at that stage of the match. You know.
Mm.
But damn, did he not lose a bunch of it? I'm not saying he didn't lose a bunch of it, but I think the sweat helped. You know.
Oh, it helped with the viscosity of it, but at the same time, I'm sitting there going, he was definitely getting a bit paler as the promo went on, and like he was being helped up the ramp by the other ops folks. Like he was definitely. I hope they got him some extreme medical care there because that was scary. The amount of blood he was losing.
There's like a little snippet of him like walking backstage.
Yeah, I was like, why is this man walking by himself? Like, what is happening?
He's stumbling. Like, get him some help.
Lay this man down, stitch him up, get him some orange juice, and give him a couple days off. Jesus Christ.
Lord help us. I was just like, this was crazy. I was like, get this man some blood, get him stitched up, give him some juice and cookies. Like, That was nuts. And again, you're absolutely right, Benny. When I saw that little snippet of Joe walking backstage by himself and he was stumbling, I'm like, come on, AEW, I love you, but like now we cannot have it. We can't have Joe be passing out, you guys. Come on now. Health
No.
and safety come first before anything. So,
One would hope. One would hope.
yes, man. So again, Joe is a two-time AEW Men's World Champion. The Ops and the Ops Dojo are out celebrating. The lights go out. Then the light guy I think got fired that night because they tried it the first time, and I heard Prince Nana speak. And then they did it again with the light guy actually showing the light on Prince Nana, who said the same thing. And listen, I'm just gonna say this, right? So pressure for Swerve Strickland's theme is a bop, right? We all know it's Swerve When I Drive, right? I've been seeing people complain about this, new song for Swerve. I was just like, listen, you guys, it's definitely new. I like, Swerve When I Drive, right? Under, pressure is really good. I do like this song though, because, it is Swerve. He has whole rap albums. It's great. Y'all should go listen to them. And I was like, it's going to take some time getting used to, like, but it's the same thing because everybody complained when Okada got that new theme song by an actual band. I was like, you guys, he's friends with the band that does this. And like Swerve makes his own music, so Swerve is going to change it up one or so often.
And it's the same beat as his other one, so it works fine.
Yeah, I was like, why are we complaining? I was just like, y'all don't like change. You can get over it.
Yeah, right? But, and it's got Raekwon the Chef on it from Wu-Tang Clan.
I was like Raekwon, is that you? I was like, hold up. I was like, casually Swerve's like, oh yeah, I worked with Raekwon. I'm like, excuse me? Like,
just dropping that.
I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, listen, you can't Swerve, I love you, but you can't casually just drop it. It's like, oh yeah, I have Raekwon on this track. I'm like, excuse me. Look, as somebody who is a big hip hop head and I listen to a lot of hip hop, and I still do, I was just like, it is a flex and a half that you can say that you had Raekwon do this song with you. I was like, what is happening? You are a wrestler and a rapper. This is nuts.
Yeah.
And I know Swerve produces his own stuff too, so it's great. But yeah, Swerve comes out and I'm just sitting there and I had a squint and I was like, did this man just get jacked? I was like, did he pull a Pac while he was gone? Because I'm like, my God, Swerve, you're huge.
Yeah.
I was like, that shirt barely contained all those muscles, bro. Like, oh my glob. Anywho, so Swerve comes out. He walks down the ramp. And I'm like, Joe, I don't know what you thought this was. Did you really think that Swerve was going to be on your side? Like, did we think so? I was just like, now, Joseph. I was like, did we really think this was going to happen? I will say, though, that camera shot when Swerve first entered the ring and it showed Swerve looking at Hangman as Hangman was just laying there dying, I was just like, that's a money shot right there. I was like, that is thumbnail. I was just like, amazing. So Swerve walks slowly through the Ops, dojo crowd and Joe, and then Swerve begins beating everybody up. And then Hangman gets up for the he activates his fighter ability, Second Wind. And him and Swerve kick ass and clear the ring, and we end Full Gear with a bloodied Hangman and a jacked up Swerve Strickland staring down at Joe. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, Revolution rematch. I'm like, it's about to be a triple threat at World's End.
Well, and on top of that, he's the man that beat Joe for the title last time too, so you got that hanging in the balance too.
So I will say this. I think in the last 2 years, Swerve and Hangman have proven that, the stories that they tell can be very fantastic, and I love it. However, if they're going to keep me invested in this long story of Hangman and Swerve's history, I'm not saying that Hangman has to be heel, but we need to change the dynamics a little bit, because I was like, I love it when Swerve is a bad guy. I love it when he is a little heelish, right? But I kind of want to see the roles reversed. I would like to see Hangman be a little bit more devious this time around. But, so yeah.
They need to evolve their thing. I mean, how is he taking the fact that Swerve's entrance video had his house on fire?
That was wild when it first played. I was like, you just had a whole house get set. I was like, whoa. I was just like, this is great. Shout out to Swerve. I watched the Chris Van Vliet podcast interview he had with Chris earlier this week. Fantastic stuff. And Swerve is a down to earth person, and I love him, and I will continue to support him. But yeah, that is how Full Gear goes off the air with Hangman and Swerve staring down a bloodied Samoa Joe and that title. Don't know how I feel about Joe being a double champion, but if anything, we got to figure out how we're getting the trios championships off the ops, because I was just like, love the ops, but we need to get those trios championships off of them.
I think this is just rebird it with Hook, you know? Like,
that's also true. You know, Shibata, Hobbs, and Hook. You know what? Yeah. That's probably what they're going to end up doing, because now that Hook is with the ops, you have the ops, which is Shibata Bread, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook to defend those things, which, you know, could be fun. But yeah, that is Full Gear. Very fun show. I had a good time on Saturday. Benny and I had a great time. I still stand up, though I do have questions on certain things. I still gave this an A, and I will stand by it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the main event, I still had a blast, and I had a good time with this. And this neatly wraps up into what the rest of the year is going to look like leading into World's End. So, boys, let's do it. So,
oh no!
Immediately, go ahead. I was like, listen. I mean, this was last year too. It's just like, okay, Full Gear is done, and bam, Continental Classic. I was like, they just wasted no time. And what I appreciate is we're doing the same thing with the Continental Classic that we did last year. That we're gonna have both semifinal matches and the Continental Classic final at World's End, which I thought that was a good change from last year, and I'm glad that we're keeping it.
It's very King of the Ring, also very G1, so it's very nice.
For real, I love me some good tournaments in wrestling. It's fantastic. So we are now entering the end of AEW's year. We are now entering Continental Classic territory. And so last night, Tony Schiavone revealed the brackets for, Gold and Blue League. But before we get into all of that, to remind folks who might be watching AEW for the first time and are wondering, what is the Continental Classic? Well,
welcome to reading.
I know. Be like, welcome to reading. But essentially, y'all can pause this and read it at your heart's content. But I will give you
Classics AEW's premier annual tournament with 2 round-robin style tournaments consisting of 2 fields, the Blue League and the Gold League, with 6 competitors in each. For each entry, competing 5 individual matches, in which the competitors in the league volume will be sometime.
I was like, if you read that whole thing, it would be hilarious.
I would, but no, that's just a waste of time.
Yeah, so you can pause and read this, but to give you the Spark Notes version, the Continental Classic works as follows. So it is a round-robin tournament. There is a Blue League and a Gold League, 6 wrestlers in each, and each wrestler will face each other once. So we get 6 matches. Well, technically 5, because they can't fight themselves, because that'd be hilarious.
No.
But it is a round-robin tournament where everyone is going to be fighting each other in the block, in the leagues, and you get 2 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, and each person gets 1 point if it ends in a time limit draw, which I think we only seen that once or twice in the 2 years that we've done this. I know we got it more. We got one last year. So that is how it works. Also, again, 20-minute time limit. Everybody is barred from ringside, so nobody can interfere, and they've been really good at keeping that be the thing. So no, I scratched that because Darby kind of costed Claudio. No, Darby won his match and costed Claudio his spot in the finals, in the semis. Yes. So that was no distractions, no shenanigans, unless you get fined and, suspended from AEW according to the rules. And of course, we also have the schedule. So we're going to be spending the next 5 to 6 weeks with this. We are kicking things off this week with our first couple of matches and, for Dynamite and Collision in Nashville. Week 2 is going to be, you have matches in Indianapolis and Columbus, Ohio. Week 3, Dynamite matches will happen at Atlanta, while Collision matches happen in Cardiff. I was just like, oh, we get international on y'all. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Week 4, the Dynamite and Collision matches will happen from Manchester. So that's going to be interesting too. Week 5, we conclude our tournaments with, Dynamite on 34th Street and Christmas Collision. And like I said before, the semifinals and the championship finals will be at World's End, which is going to be in Chicago. So interesting. Chicago. So
now arena in not Chicago, Illinois.
For reals. I was like, they tried, you guys. So let's get into the leagues, right? So we are going to start off with our participants in Gold League. So in Gold League, we have the following 6 competitors. Returning in his second Continental Classic is Darby Allin of Darbs is here. First time appearance in Pac. First time appearance, Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey. Second appearance in Kyle Fletcher. And of course, our unified champion, who is also defending the Continental Championship aspect of his unified championship, is, the current champ and the, winner of last year's Continental Classic, Kazuchika Okada. And I'm just sitting here and I was just like, oh, these matches gonna eat. Like, these matches are gonna be so much fun. And they're kicking us off tomorrow because tomorrow they announced one match already for the Continental Classic. Tomorrow we are opening up with Kyle Fletcher and Okada. I'm like,
starting us right off the bat with a Don Callis breakup story. This is great.
For reals. These matches are going to eat, like I said. On paper, I'm the most excited for Kevin Knight versus everyone. I'm just excited. Look, I really enjoyed Kevin Knight at Best of the Super Juniors this year when me and Adolfo covered the tournament earlier in the spring. And I'm excited to see Kevin Knight in another tournament. I'm excited to see Speedball in this tournament. And I'm excited to see Kevin Knight and Speedball and Mike Bailey put on a show, too. They're going to fight, and it's going to be great.
Pac is going to have some amazing matches against Kevin Knight and Kyle Fletcher. It'll be interesting to see how he and Speedball do because they're about the same height. So, I don't know.
This is... I'm so excited. This league is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to get into my theory when we get towards the tail end of this, but I'm looking forward to this Gold League. Honestly, I was just like, I think Kevin Knight and Speedball are probably going to eat a little bit of these pins, but it's not like the last 2 years where it's like, oh yeah, this person's definitely going to take a lot of these pins. I'm looking at you, Jay Lethal, from the first year. I was like, ugh.
Anywho. He never recovered from that.
No, he has not. But again, Gold League, can't wait. This should be fun. And so, like I said, everyone's going to be able to fight each other, except they're not fighting themselves. And they are seeds A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now, let's get into the Blue League, which I'm not going to lie. There are a couple names here. I was like, ooh, this should be interesting. So, to nobody's surprise, we have our IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Konosuke Takeshita, in this thing. Jon Moxley making his second appearance here in the Continental Classic. Second year appearance for Claudio Castagnoli. Unless I am mistaken, isn't this Orange? This is Orange's first Continental Classic? I don't remember if he was in the first one. I think this is Orange's first year.
I have to go back and look.
Yeah, me too.
So we're going to fact check that in a little bit later. Roddy Strong about to go demon time. So I'm excited to see Roddy here. And the person who's probably going to eat these pins, but I am excited to see him nonetheless, is CMLL's Máscara Dorada. I was like, this kid's about to fight everyone, and I'm excited.
Is he like 25 or something like that? Like 23?
He's 23. I was like, I feel not accomplished, you guys.
True.
But I'm excited because, again, according to AEW and statistics, that Mox and Claudio have never faced each other in a singles match of any kind in AEW, and this is going to be their first time going up against each other. I'm like, the downfall of Moxley begins. Tony, if you know good storytelling, Moxley should lose every single match. Well, on the flip side, I think Pac should make it to the finals, or the semis at least. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. Here I was surprised to see Moxley, but this is fun. I'm happy to see Orange. Roddy, I hope, actually does well. I hope they actually give him a good run here. Again, Mascara is probably here to eat a lot of these pins, but he's going to have a good time nonetheless, and he is fantastic as well. So again, everybody fight each other once. We get seeds G, H, I, J, K, and L. So that is our field, boys. So, I mean, I've done a lot of the talking, but I want to present this question to you. Who are you looking for? Who are you looking forward to the most in this Continental Classic? And just to make it extra fun, who do you see as our 4 semifinalists? So again, the way that it works is we have the winner of Blue League taking on the runner-up of Yellow and vice versa. So who are our final 4 in your opinion? So 2 from Yellow and 2 from Blue.
First off, also, Orange Cassidy has never been in the tournament.
Okay.
So this is his first one.
Surprising. But I'm excited nonetheless. So I'm going to go first. So I actually really like this. Again, I think Mascara being here means that in Blue League, he's going to eat these pins. But other than him, I'm very kind of happy of how, I don't know if balanced is the correct word, but it's not obvious like someone's here just to take these pins. Like Danny was and Mark Briscoe was, in the last 2 Continental Classics. I feel like this one's more balanced. So if we're gonna play the guessing game,
Let's do it.
So my 4 semifinalists, the final 4 going into World's End, the easiest 2 to pick for me is Okada and Takeshita. I think those 2 are definitely making it to the World's End tournament, the semis and the finals. Now for the other 2, I think so. Okada is one in the Yellow. I'm going to go with Pac as my second pick for Yellow. So I think it's Okada and Pac. And then my 2 for Blue League is going to be Takeshita. And I'm actually going to go dark horse. I'm going to go with Roddy. I'm going to go with Roddy here.
Interesting.
Right. I think the obvious. I'm going to also go with the obvious here, because this is clearly just to get to Okada and Takeshita.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's going to be the other side of it's going to be the Death Riders with Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. So we can finally get that Kazuchika Okada Claudio Castagnoli match.
That match will also slap.
Yeah.
Also, Claudio has been in every C2 since its inception. He's the only person in here, I believe, that has been in all 3. Although Moxley may have, but I don't remember.
Moxley wasn't in last year. He was in the first one because then remember we got that triple threat between him and Swerve and Jay White. So, right. But he was.
Claudio's been in all 3, and Claudio has never had a winning record. Just so we know. We all know the final is going to be Okada Takeshita. That's what it's going to be. That's what this has been building to the entire time. Pac is a great pull. Darby also being a great pull. If you have Moxley one on the other end, you could rerun that a bunch of other ways. I see this being out of the Gold League, Okada and Fletcher.
Ooh.
Fletcher coming in as a semifinalist, and then you get Takeshita and Orange Cassidy.
Ooh, Orange would be a lot of fun too. Man. Yeah, I'm excited for the Continental Classic. It ends up taking us from tomorrow all the way to World's End. So that's on the men's side. On the women's side of things, of course, we still have our women's tag team tournament going on. We are getting the Sisters of Sin versus the Babes of Wrath tomorrow night as well. And like I said, we're getting Fletcher and Okada as one of the matches tomorrow for the Continental Classic. And I'm looking forward to Continental Classic. It's one of the things that AEW's inception, taking inspiration from, New Japan and all the other wrestling tournaments, that's become one of my favorite things to talk about and to see as we get to the end of AEW in 2025. So,
there you go.
Yeah. So I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Claudio, Takeshita and Roddy is going to slap so hard.
Oh my God.
Listen, Takeshita, yeah. Blue League also has some matches I'm looking forward to. Like I said, Mascara Dorada versus everyone is going to be fun. But honestly, Roddy versus Takeshita is one of my dream matches in that league. I'm like,
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
looking over the field the other day, I was like, "Oh my god! Like, look at all this."
It is well put together for that respect. It's so stacked.
Yeah.
I was just like, I appreciate AEW and Tony Khan like listening to the feedback because like year one was just like, okay, this is new. But like the way that we distributed wins and losses was kind of like overhand, like like heavy handed. I was like, okay. Last year was got better in terms of balance, but I also was a little upset with certain people losing, and I'm just like, okay. But I feel like this year is better balanced. I was like, I could see anybody and make an argument for anyone taking losses. But again, outside of Mascara Dorada, there's not really like one person that's really here in both leagues to take these pins. I am gonna say Kevin Knight is probably going to eat most of these pins in yellow and gold league, but you know what? It's still
Not
gonna be
Speedball?
good.
Not Speedball?
Well, actually, you know what? Speedball too. I think we're gonna distribute these pins, but I also think that at least one of them is actually going to get a win when they fight each other. So
True.
So somebody's going to get this win. But
or is that going to be one of the? Is that going to be a time limit draw? Do you think?
Ooh, that's also a good point too, because time limit draws give each wrestler a point, so that could also be a way to protect both of them. I'm excited. This is going to be a good time, and yeah, Continental Classic season is upon us, and I'm looking forward to it. But that's going to be it for us here at Elite Insight. We have gone through Full Gear and we did the Continental Classic. So, boys, I appreciate you being here this evening. And you know what? We still got a pretty fun week, even though it is a short week. So, to quickly go over it, tomorrow evening, we get the double header of reviews where myself, Kilt, and a returning Will, aka Papa Oso, the three of us will be taking on NXT's Gold Rush Week 2. Where every match is a championship match, which includes TNA, Evolve, AAA, and NXT. So those matches are going to be really, really fun. Then at 8 p.m. Pacific, we got our CMLL review. And then we will be ending the week on Saturday. We are dividing and conquering with our WWE Survivor Series War Games watch along. Kilt will be on the virtual space holding it down, doing the watch along with, the WWE boys and our podcasting friends who pop in too. While I will be boots to the ground as I will be live in person at Petco Park for Survivor Series with Mama LaGuillo. So I'm excited to take her to her first WWE event. Yes, I know I've had issues with WWE, but this is an experience that, I get to share with my mom. So I'm going to take it any chance I get. But to make up for it, though, the following week, I will be going back to Los Angeles with my friend Uriel as I go to my second GCW show. So we're going to balance out the forces here. So I'm excited. But thank you so much for tuning into our review. We got to get up on out of here. So from all of us here at BC WrestlePod. Oh, before I go, though, if you're looking for something different, shameless plug here, please check out the special podcast episode I released earlier today with our new friends over at If We Had the Pencil podcast. Sean and Matt are very, very fun folks. I'm super happy that I got to finally be a part with something in person with them over the internet. We got to do something together. And I'm looking forward to working with them and Nick and all our friends that we've been making along the way this year. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you tomorrow for NXT and CMLL. But until then, this is Sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.